Good evening. Today we'll be discussing the Ironman Insights and how to improve your Ironman performance. The Ironman Triathlon is broken into three activities: swimming 2.4 miles, biking 112 miles, and running a 26.2-mile marathon. During my investigation of the Ironman, I noticed some correlation variables, which include previous experience, the volume, not necessarily the intensity of training ahead of time, age groups, having a Ironman marathon ahead of time, the bike split time, the lower body fat percentage, and gender. The top five correlations that I'll be addressing is having previous experience, the volume of training ahead of time, age, the half Ironman times, the bike split time, and the lower body fat. As you can tell from this slide, men from ages 25 to 40 and women 24 to 40 have the lowest overall Ironman times. As the ages increase, the overall times to finish significantly increase. This, of course, does not include both male and female professionals, which, as you can tell, have significantly lower times than the amateurs. Determining the bike split as it compares to the overall triathlon time itself, it's about 50%. So if you do the biking portion within 6 hours, you can pretty much guarantee that your overall experience with the triathlon will be about 12 hours. This is similar to the half Ironman triathlon. For each portion of the half Ironman triathlon, whether it be swimming, biking, or running, they should be about 50% of the overall Ironman triathlon itself. So if you can do a swimming portion normally at around, say, 45 minutes, you can expect your swimming portion within the full Ironman to be about an hour and a half. Noticing that the fastest swim time does not necessarily reflect very well with overall placement. According to a Microsoft Excel regression model I produced, it shows about a good predictor of placing at 33%. On the other hand, for being the fastest bike time in a race, it's about 58% chance that you will actually win the overall tournament. A little higher would be the fastest run time. The fastest run time is about 63%, showing that you will actually win the Ironman challenge using a Microsoft Excel regression model comparing overall placement with the runtime placement. Now, combining the fact that you may be the first person out of the water and have the fastest runtime, which go hand in hand, still shows about a 34% chance of placement, winning first place. Now, if you're the first person onto a bike and have the fastest bike time, you do increase your overall chance of winning first by about be about 60%, and the second and third place people to get onto a bike will fares about the same. The best way to determine who will win the Ironman triathlon would be to see who's the first to actually start running. There's a 96% chance that the first person to start running will actually win the tournament. This, of course, is using the same Microsoft Excel regression model as before, comparing overall placement with runtime placement. These, of course, take into the account of transitions from swimming to biking in biking to running. These transition times can and do vary greatly and should be part of the training regimen going forward. Some keys to training is to focus on the bike portion. It's 50% of the overall activity of the Ironman triathlon. It's also the key point to maintain your speed and strength to continue forward, and is one of the best indicators of how well you will do overall. Train more on all activities, at least 8 hours a week per activity. The more you train on each activity, not necessarily the intensity of it, but the longer you train, not only are you training your capability of how to maneuver specific obstacles that would get in your way, but it trains your body to become more effective and efficient in how it handles its oxygen intake, as well as how you are able to maintain your hydration levels and knowing what you will need. Train more than you will actually use within the marathon itself. Focus on your transitions between events. Transitions for the winners are usually about 1 to 3 minutes. Anything longer than that can actually severely hurt your overall time. As we saw from the last slide of regression modeling, we noticed that the first person to get to start running was more likely to actually win the overall tournament. The better you are able to position yourself to that point, the greater you are to actually win the overall tournament. And not only with training, part of the training should be to do a half Ironman before the actual event. This will also hone your skills and test yourself to see where you are in your overall training regimen. It is also an excellent indicator on how well you will do for the Ironman triathlon itself. The key is to be smooth and steady, making sure through training that you are able to maintain your energy and your strength throughout the entire marathon, not overdoing it in the swimming stage, which, as we found out, does not really indicate how well you will do, as well as not burning too much during the biking exercise, which doesn't necessarily show how well you will actually place either. The key is to maintain through either different methods of drafting, being behind other people and using their energy to your advantage while you minimize your efforts and energy, or other types of techniques to help you maintain your strength, energy, and hydration levels so that you can actually be one of the first people to start running at the last leg of the tournament. Thank you. Here are the references that I have used for this. If you have any questions, please let me know.